Hello students, welcome to part 2 of chapter 5 Chemical Evolution. It is a part of Origin and Evolution of Life. Students, this part is also deleted for board exam 2020, but it is a very important concept, and so let us see what is chemical evolution. It is also called as self-assembly theory of origin of life or biochemical origin of life. It states that life originated due to a lot of combinations of several chemical reactions which occurred over a long period of time. This theory was first formulated by Haeckel, and this theory was later developed by Russian scientist Alexander I. Oparin in 1924 and British biologist J.B.S. Haldane. Therefore, it is also called as Oparin-Haldane theory. What are the steps of chemical evolution? It consists of 7 steps. First, origin of Earth and primitive atmosphere. Then, formation of ammonia, water, and methane. Later, formation of simple organic compounds, then complex organic compounds, then nucleic acids, and then finally, formation of protobions or procells, and the first cell is formed. Let us see all these steps one by one. So, origin of Earth and primitive atmosphere. Origin of universe was explained by George Lemaitre. A huge titanic explosion occurred 20 billion years ago. Universe expanded. Temperature slowly started decreasing. Various galaxies were formed. Milky Way is one such galaxy out of these hundreds of galaxies. So this is Milky Way. And our solar system is a very small part of this huge Milky Way. From this solar system, if we talk about Earth is a very small part of the large solar system. So you can imagine how small Earth is in the galaxies. It originated 4.6 billion years ago. Initially, it was a hot cloud of rotating gas and dust called as nebula. It started cooling and condensing. Heavy elements like nickel and iron, they started settling towards the core, but helium, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, they form atmosphere around the Earth's surface. Primitive Earth was of reducing type because it did not have oxygen. It was a reducing type. So, nebulous, a ball of hot gases, vapors of elements, rocks, metals formed from the sun. Earth started cooling and moving away from the sun. Gases started condensing. Heavy elements, iron and nickel, settled in the core, center of the Earth. And gases like hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, they form atmosphere. Formation of ammonia, water, and methane. If you consider Earth in the initial period, it was very, very hot, a burning gas ball of fire, ball of gases. As it cooled, slowly the lighter elements started to react with each other, like the hydrogen, carbon, helium, nitrogen, sulfur. All they started reacting with each other, but there was no free oxygen. These gases they reacted and they form simple gases like ammonia, methane, hydrogen sulfide, and water. Steam was also formed. Later, so much steam was formed, the temperature started reducing that the steam it condensed into water. They formed clouds and clouds of steam. Later, condensation occurred and heavy rainfall occurred. It rained so heavily that the entire earth was full of water. Water accumulated in the form of rivers, lakes, streams, seas, oceans. Everywhere there was water and it was raining for months and years. Ozone was not present that time, so ultraviolet rays also reached the surface of the earth. So this energy from the ultraviolet rays along with the energy of lightning, volcanic eruptions, early molecules of methane, ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, they went into reactions like polymerizations, condensations, oxidation and reduction. And as a result of all these different types of reactions, molecules like monosaccharides, amino acids, purines, pyrimidines, fatty acids, and glycerols were formed. And all these compounds they got dissolved in the water. So you can see in the picture how it is raining, how these gases are formed, how these molecules, sugar, fatty acid, glycerol, amino acids, purines, pyrimidines are dissolved in the water in those rivers or in the sea water bodies. Haldane called it as dilute soup or primitive broth. Later, it did not degrade down. Why it couldn't degrade? Because there was no free oxygen, neither there was enzymes. Later, formation of nucleic acid occurred. Polymerization of amino acids, they form proteins. One of the type of proteins were enzymes, or enzymes were also formed. Formation of enzymes accelerated the rate of chemical reactions. Reactions occurred between phosphoric acid, sugars, and nitrogen bases. It gave rise to the formation of purines and pyrimidines. Purines and pyrimidines gave rise to formation of RNA and DNA, ribose nucleic acid and deoxyribonucleic acid molecules. That is, finally, nucleic acids were formed. Proteins and nucleic acids were formed. Nucleic acids acquired the ability of self-replicating. The next step is formation of protobions or procells. Now, nucleic acids with inorganic, organic molecules came together and they formed the protobions. Oparin called them as the coacervatives, whereas Sidney called them as proteinoids or microspheres. These grew in size by taking material from the surroundings. They expanded. As they grew in size, they became unstable and they started budding off. They started forming new cells. Their bodies may have double-walled membrane, which was might be made up of hydrophilic compounds. Thus, they form the first cell of protobions or eubions, eobiont. Later, development of first cell occurred. When RNA, DNA system develop in the protobions, they look like bacteria or viruses. They had their own metabolic activities. They were anaerobes, respire in absence of oxygen, and heterotrophs. They derive their energy from the chemoheterotrophic processes, and finally, the first cell was produced. So, I hope you understood how the chemical reaction took place and how chemical evolution led to the formation of first cell. In the next video, we will discuss about Urey Miller's experiment. Thank you.